to pour out as many lies as they can right now to convince you that Trump is losing, but we still have to go out and vote. What say you, Mark?
Yep, absolutely. You know, it's vote, vote, vote right now. And well, thank you for having me on the show, by the way. I forgot to thank you for that. But I mean, it's vote, 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 brother, right now. You know, look, we know we're going to win this battle, but we cannot get complacent right now. We have to get out and vote right now. And don't vote by mail if you can help it. Show up and vote in person right now. Every state's got its issues, so every state is going to be a little different from one to the other. But the point is to get out and vote. God's told us what's going to happen, but we still have to do our part. We can't just sit back and just start praying like it's all going to take care of itself, and then we don't do our part and vote. So that's the most important thing I could tell people right now is get out and vote. If you haven't done it, get out now.
Every single person, your vote matters.
Yep.
Before we go any further, I have something in honor of my buddy Mark. I'll be right back. Just give me 1 second. Here we go.
Love it, man. Absolutely love it. There you go. There we go. That works. I'm glad I didn't wear my camo hat today.
There you go. Yeah, I got this.
I got 3 different hats. I mean, I got a red one, this blue one, and I got a camo one. So.
Yeah, my wife actually saw these hats the other day. She says, "You got to get one of these." I said, "Yeah, for Mark, I got to get one."
Yeah, there you go. That works.
I was actually the other day I posted a viewer that watches us on a regular basis. I posted the other day that I was more for God than Trump, and that I was more for what God is doing through Trump than I was actually for the man. And so she came on and she said, "You're not a Trump supporter. How can you say that?" So to this lady, here you go.
If you can't really tell who we're supporting here, then something's very wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, which kind of leads me to another scenario here. We've got a lot of evangelical pastors out there. We've seen them in the headlines coming out, not supporting Trump. Some of them are riding the fence saying that they're neutral. They're not supporting anyone because God's not Republican or Democrat. I mean, we've heard it from one end of the spectrum to the other, brother. I mean, and you've got these others out there that are on a list, a literal list, that have signed on to this thing supporting Joe Biden, calling themselves pro-life evangelicals for Biden.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not an oxymoron, I don't know what is. If that's not being a hypocrite, I don't know what is. You cannot call yourself pro-life and be pro-Biden. I'm sorry. It doesn't work that way. You know, the devil owns the fence. You better choose 100%. This day whom you are going to serve. You are supporting the New World Order agenda. You're supporting a satanic agenda, the kingdom of darkness. I mean, we go right down the line with this. How can you call yourself a Christian and support that agenda? How can you support or call yourself a pastor and support a satanic agenda? Please explain that to me, brother, because I have no clue. How does that work?
I don't either. I question men and people all the time saying, how can you call yourself a Christian and support same-sex marriage? Biden wants the LGBT rights over Christian rights.
Yep.
How can you do it?
Yeah. You cannot call yourself a man or woman of God and support a satanic agenda.
That's right.
You're eating off the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is what that is. You're trying to look good, smell good, taste good, but in fact you are pure evil.
Come on. It's exactly right. I don't understand it. And somehow they're walking around like this, you know, hoping that they don't see sin with this eye.
Right.
It's unbelievable. You know, I talked this morning. I was having a discussion about abortion and people saying women have their rights. I said, no, the rights is in bed, not at the abortion clinic. Right.
And look, let's talk about that for a second. So let's talk about how the Democrats, not just Biden, I'm talking Democrats, period. Let's talk about how they have deceived and duped women and men into thinking that it's a women's right to choose or that it's about women's health. It's about none of the above. You have been deceived. You've been duped. They want you to abort that baby for one reason and one reason only. That is as a sacrifice to their god called Moloch or Baal.
That's right.
Baal is the strong man over America. The abortion, he look, anytime we have a war, Baal's behind it. He's a very violent entity. It's the shedding of the innocent blood that empowers him. So the food source for Baal over this country or over any country has always been abortion, which is why you're seeing it so people don't want to touch it, or they don't want why it's so hard to bring this thing down, this throne, so to speak, is because it's all about the food source. It's all about a satanic agenda. That's how they empower their god Baal being the strongman over America. So, we have been duped, literally duped, and brainwashed into thinking that it's about that. And the Democrats know this. They know it has nothing to do with that. That's their excuses for getting it across to the people. It's all about the sacrifice.
They have legalized sacrifices.
That's right.
What they've done. That's
right. And they're trying to take it a step farther with pedophilia, with or legalizing prostitution, which is what RBG was all about. They're trying to normalize these things. You're seeing it on our programming every day, whether it's the homosexuality or whatever it is. They're trying to normalize it. It's called brainwashing. It's called television programming for a reason. They're programming you to think that this is okay.
That's right. And by coincidence, television. They're telling their vision.
That's right.
And and society is sucking up into their vision and becoming puppets to their vision.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And while legalizing sacrifices, they're also profiting off of it, which is even worse situation that they're putting themselves into.
Yeah, and so when you start talking, we can get into the Supreme Court if you want a little bit here, because they just swore in Amy Coney Barrett, and let's talk for a second what this represents. RBG represented the dark side on that court.
Yes.
Everything that was satanic on that court, whether it was pedophilia, prostitution, whatever it is, she was for it. Abortion, she was for it. She was the gatekeeper on that Supreme Court to the demonic. And we all said, I've been saying for a long time, when that woman comes down, it's going to be a fight to get this other one in. Now, it was a fight to get her in, but we got her. And so when you look at the contrast between the two, you have RBG here and you have Amy Coney Barrett here. One supported evil. She was the gatekeeper. She has been dethroned. That gatekeeper's been dethroned. So when you look at this one over here, this woman, I don't know if she had kids. Did she have one kid or two kids? I can't remember how many kids she actually had in her life. RBG. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many kids she had. But the point being is that she represented evil. That was dethroned off the Supreme Court. It's now gone, done with. Now we have Amy Coney Barrett, who represents light, righteousness on the court. And by the way, how many kids does Amy have?
7.
And some were adopted from where? Haiti. Where do we think that's going to open the door to?
Maybe the Foundation?
Yeah, maybe so. Could be, at some point. The point is, it's been dethroned, and that throne is now being occupied by Jesus Christ.
That's powerful.
Now, I'm not saying, please don't twist my words here, folks. I'm not saying Amy is Jesus Christ. I'm saying what she represents is the light of Christ. The glory of Christ is on that throne now. Right. So this is the turning point of the Supreme Court, I believe. This is the turning point at this juncture of time where, now, here's the question. This is the part we don't know yet, because when you go back to the prophecy where God gave us, where he talked about that once he reforms the court, he says, I will take on that great case called Roe versus Wade. Now, has the court been reformed at this point? I don't know. It's only in God's eyes at this point, because God said we're going to get 5. So when you start taking on a case like that, because I've heard some other big name pastors come out attacking Trump, that he hasn't done anything with Roe versus Wade, this, that, and the other. I'm not going to mention names, but they're out there. And it's like, look, timing is everything, brother.
Yes.
You have to pick your battles, and you got to pick the timing. And even if it's the same battle twice, God never uses the same strategy and tactics twice. He always uses different strategies and tactics, even if it's the same battle. So when this case comes up, you better have your ducks in a row here, which means we better have 1 or 2 more Supreme Court justices on there that we can rely on, because we got one shot at this.
Right.
We're going to have one shot at this. When this comes up, we're going to have one. And you better make darn sure that we got assets in place to take care of this case, and then it will get kicked back to the states. Roe versus Wade will be overturned. It'll get kicked back to the states. And I believe it's at that point, Paul, that the states themselves will see the blessings or the curses, depending on which way they go with it. Now,
absolutely.
Let's talk about Louisiana for a second. Why is Louisiana getting pummeled with storms this year? They've been hit with 4 storms, 5 storms?
I think
4
already,
4? So it's been, I think, 2 tropical storms and 2 hurricanes at this point.
Right.
There's a reason why. It's because for the first time in history, Louisiana is the first state to have an amendment to completely get rid of abortion in that state.
Wow.
This is not a coincidence that the enemy or the deep state is sending these storms to Louisiana to disrupt that process. They don't want them voting on it. So what happens now when Louisiana votes on that amendment for the first time in a presidential election like this? If that amendment, I'm just going to decree this. When that amendment passes, it will set precedents, and other states will jump on board at that point. See, This is what this is all about. That's why they don't want a door opening for God at this point, because God's going to kick it wide open, and the floodgates of heaven are going to pour through, and they know that. So that's why I believe that through technology, witchcraft, whatever, all these storms were being sent to Louisiana for retaliation for this amendment, or to keep them and create chaos from voting on that amendment.
So we need to pray. We need to pray
for that amendment, because that amendment's going to be a whole lot more than just Louisiana. It's going to set precedents, and other states are going to jump on board with this.
Absolutely, that's what it's going to.